Hey all, this is David Ducker coming back at you, and today I'm going to be talking about multiple GMs and multiple player characters. Some of this I love, some of it I don't like at all. So I'll start with what I like, and then I'll ramble about what I don't like. So I love to bring in co-GMs and guest star characters. It can really shake up the status quo, can get things moving, can change the dynamic of your game, of your party. It's wonderful. Primarily, I will do this when I'm running a scene with lots of NPCs, a royal ball, a war room meeting, a banquet and nobles establishment, a mass combat, anything like that, where as a GM, I would be stretching myself to try and run all the characters in the room at the same time. So I'll put up an ad on meetup.com. I'll send out an email to all my buddies locally. I'll say, hey, does anybody want to come in for one session and show up, run 10 NPCs at a party, or you run one side of the army, I'll run the other side, or whatever the specific case may be. Sometimes it works out differently depending on the components of that adventure. But I've had great success with this in the past. Tyson co-GM for me at a banquet. He ran 5 NPCs. I ran probably another 5 or 10 who were at the banquet. It was great because I was able to engage with some of the players, and Tyson was over here engaging with other players. It really felt kind of like a party. And me and Tyson were switching back and forth between players as well. And some of the player characters were just talking amongst themselves. So it was a great success for a session. I brought James in to run some mass combat with us, where I gave him all the enemy generals to run. And I was running the both armies as well as all the friendly NPCs, and then the player characters were of course running their units of the army and their players as well. It really streamlined everything, that while James was taking his turns, I could actually take a breather and strategize for my turns. I did reserve a few, I think 1 or 2 of the NPCs for myself, because I had certain things I needed to accomplish with them. So that's a good piece of advice. When you have a co-GM, if you've got a really strongly characterized role, probably reserve that for yourself. Or if you've got a very important role, reserve that for yourself as well. Give him more minor NPCs, and once he can have more latitude with to do whatever he wants, to have freedom as a co-GM. So I'd strongly recommend that. I wouldn't recommend it though for like a full campaign with a co-GM. To me, it'd be too much work organizing it, because after I have the co-GM in, I have to get like an after action report, a debriefing report on what his characters did. And doing that after every single session would get very tedious. I like to do very little prep between sessions, which is why I love the sandbox style. It's so reactive. It's not active style. Although there are a lot of actions taken, but most of my prep is devoted to just reactions. Now, I know Runeslinger Casting Shadows and possibly others on our forum have had good success running full campaigns with co-GMs. So more power to them. It's as a player, I think it'd be fine as long as the GMs could maintain their continuity. And it wouldn't be ridiculously difficult to do so, it'd just be more work. And I'm opposed to more work, especially if the results will be pretty close to the same, as I think they would be. The other thing I wanted to talk about in this video is running multiple player characters. For example, my brother ran a Game of Thrones game where everyone had 3 characters. They were all divided by geography. So everyone had a player in King's Landing, and a player on the Wall, and a player in Essos, for example. So it's kind of like 3 games running at the same time in the same universe. Very interesting concept. Not something I'd enjoy as a player, but I can certainly see why people would enjoy it. I think it'd be... I know when he was GMing it, it was a lot of stress for him as a GM. But if you want to kind of get some practice GMing, coming as a player with multiple player characters, that could be great practice for eventually stepping up and GMing a game of your own. So I could see that. The other alternative, right out of the Game of Thrones rulebook, is each player character controls a noble house and all the characters attached to that house. So, you know, for example, Mike would be House Targaryen, Rick would be House Baratheon, and Megan would be House Martell. And then they'd each control every member of their house and all be kind of either allying with each other or scheming against each other, whatever the format is. So again, you get even more latitude to have kind of this GMing experience, but as a player, or a game with multiple GMs and no real strict player characters that are only playing one character. Very interesting ideas. Not something I'd be interested in playing, or probably even running, to be honest. But I always welcome people to expand their horizons, try something new, and I just thought I'd throw these ideas out there for people, kind of get them inspired, get them excited about some different and alternate modes of play. You know, I could easily see you running this with any genre, space opera, Call of Cthulhu, superheroes, where each person controls a whole super team. Just a huge amount of possibilities can be contained within these ideas. So I'd love to hear if anyone out there has experiences with multiple players, with multiple GMs, possibly, as I said, with multiple players in separate storylines, like my brother did, to imitate the Game of Thrones style. You know, the 3 games running at the same time with the same players. I know it was a headache for him, but maybe it wasn't for you. I'd love to hear about it. Any techniques that are specific to these styles of game. Maybe you can change my mind and make me think it's a good idea. Probably not, but maybe. So I'm going to sign off right now, and I look forward to any responses out there from YouTube land. Cheers.